It's time for another HubNotes coffee chat. And while I make my excuses for not putting out more content on the main channel lately, but I don't know if you can hear in the background, there's a lot of construction noise going on here at the moment. It's making filming at the unit quite difficult. Also been struggling for time, just trying to keep up with stuff. Yeah, hoping we can get more tinkering done. I'm actually due a tinkering session tomorrow. I don't know how that's going to go. They're actually laying concrete in another building here today. I'm hopeful. It looks like they'll have that finished today, so hopefully that means we won't have noise tomorrow. Got Mark coming to help me tomorrow, so we'll see how that goes. Be an interesting experience for both of us, I suspect. It's new and novel to each of us, but we'll see how it goes. I mean, I've had people sort of help out occasionally with specific jobs. Putting Foxhound's windscreen in, for instance, someone came and helped me with that very kindly, and most notably rebuilding Ellie's engine. In fact, it was 1 year yesterday that I discovered a serious problem. No, 2 years yesterday that I discovered a serious problem with Ellie's engine, and that was the week before we were set off to drive to Croatia. So it was a panic time, and in the middle of that panic time, it was after I'd ripped that engine out, the broken engine, and chucked in the spare engine that I've had sitting around for God knows how long. I gave that a test run by driving to Newquay and meeting Miss Hubnut. So that was our first meeting, was literally days before I drove off to Croatia for a 5-week trip. So less than ideal circumstances to try and start a relationship, but there we are. That was our first meeting. And just like with Mark, you got those tentative steps. You have no idea where this is going to go. So look forward to having a bit of help. We'll see how it goes. Oh gosh, there really is a lot of noise today. And I mean, the other problem, I'm still struggling with motivation because I'm not doing very well on actually getting jobs done. It's that catch-22 problem of having lots of jobs, and you look at the jobs and just go, that's overwhelming, I can't do it. I think I know I get a lot of criticism for having too many cars, and I think that's a just complaint, to be honest, because you just don't have enough headspace for them all. There's this mystery purchase still lurking in the background, and that's requiring some work and some parts sourcing, and just keeping on top of that side of things. My mate Chris, who owns the Field of Dreams, has quite a fleet of cars. He's all too aware of what it's like, what a massive task it becomes trying to keep up with all the jobs, and he's got loads of cars. I think he's got over 30 cars. So just trying to, even if you're farming the work out, you've still got to keep an eye on the garage and help them with queries and perhaps source parts. So it gets overwhelming, and it's a difficult one, because while it'd be easy in theory to go back down to a smaller fleet, maybe keep it to the cars you can see here plus Ellie, who is just there, that ignores the fact that I really like the other cars. I really like the Daihatsu that sat over there. I really like the Daewoo Matiz that sat outside in the rain. Giselle the GSA I really like. And while I'm hugely fortunate to be in a position where I drive so many different cars all the time, you don't really get a feel for a car when you've just borrowed it for an hour or two. You need it a bit longer for the foibles to really shine through. I'm well aware, I drove a Marina and said this Marina is not so bad, but what's it actually like to own a Marina? Will it be as traumatic as it has been for poor Steph on iDriver Classic, where the engine seems to enjoy killing itself? What are the realities of driving these cars longer term? And I think that's good to explore. And I know it can make cars look problematic. I mean, the 2CV has attracted attention. People going, oh, well, these cars are desperately unreliable. It's like, no, poor Ellie the 2CV has had to put up with my tinkering for the best part of 20 years, and a lot of the faults end up coming from my own ham-fisted mechanicking. I mean, it's very unusual for a cylinder head stud to pull out the block, but it is possible I've over-tightened it at some point and weakened the aluminium in the engine block, and then fitted a big bore kit, so I'm putting more strain on those head studs, and that's why it all went wrong. That is entirely possible. A lot of the issues we had recently with wiring were entirely my fault, because I've hacked the loom about on this poor 2CV so much over the years. It's not fair to pick on a car as being unreliable just because I'm documenting a load of faults that have happened with it. It is not the car's fault. So yeah, hopefully we'll get back in the swing of things fairly soon with the tinkering. I'm hoping having someone helping, just someone to bounce ideas off even, and suggestions for how we fix problems. A lot of the time I'm left scratching my head up here not knowing how to proceed. And as wonderful as it has been to have Miss Hubnut get on board and want to get involved, it ends up feeling like the blind leading the blind, because I can't expect her to have a better idea than me about how to fix something, because she's very new to the world of cars. She's still learning how they work. And while she is prepared to sit there and look up exactly how you do a job, the tailgate struts on the Citroen C5 being her most notable success, yeah, there's no replacement for actual hands-on experience. So I'm hoping Mark might be able to add something to that, but we'll see how it goes. That's tomorrow. Well, I can't promise it'll be brilliant. I can't promise we'll actually record it. We might just do the tinkering and see how we get on before we add the element of video. We'll see. I kind of like documenting stuff, but yeah, that's a job in itself sometimes. Incidentally, I'm recording this on the Canon M50, which I haven't been using very much lately. I tend to default to the DJI Osmo Action, but I've had a play with the sound settings, so let me know in the comments below how you're finding the sound. I think I've got slightly better control. This camera was clipping out and just sounding a bit awful, to be honest, which is why I haven't been using it. The other reason is the digital image stabilization is much better on that camera, but you get much better results with this camera in other ways. The depth of field is much more controllable, so you know, the Yugo is all out of focus and it looks artistic and makes me look amazing. So I quite like that. Always playing around with camera settings. I've never found the perfect camera, because while the DJI Osmo Action is very good, it has no zoom at all, whereas this camera, you know, I can sort of zoom right in. Whoa! So I can change the size of what I'm shooting much more effectively. I think somewhere I've got a zoom lens for this camera. I may have dreamt that. That might be my own DSLR. In fact, I think it is my old DSLR, which sadly didn't have video functionality. So that's something to consider. I've got some shoots coming up later this year, but I do need some zoom capability on, so I might be using this camera. The other advantage of the DJI is because it's so light, it's so easy to hand hold, and the stabilization is so good. It's great for event reports. Whereas I've tried various things with this camera, and the problem is it's just not that good. I guess it's my problem. I always tend to go for cheap on kit, and that rarely has good results. But I got this camera because I felt I needed a stills camera as well. The first video shoot I did with this camera was 2 years ago when I did the Morris Marina, and that was the first shoot for that, and I was trying a different separate wireless mic kit on that shoot as well, because I knew I needed to do a walk in and walk out. I'd already got that thing about pianos in my head right at the end of the video. That was in my head before I shot it, and it was just really pleasing because I felt that did take the film making up a notch, and it just hasn't quite followed through. But yeah, we'll see. I'm going to be using this camera more. We'll see how it goes. A few other housekeeping notes. Mailbag, we're way behind on. I think I'm going to stop doing them. We'll do one more just to catch up with what we've got. But to be honest, that sort of thing is distracting from what the channel is all about, which is cars. And also, you know, we're in the process of moving house, so we just don't need more stuff at the moment. We're very grateful for some of the wonderful things people have sent us. Oh no, I haven't got them here. Drat. I've got some things here that I'll show you in case you haven't watched the mailbag. Some of the things people have sent over the years. Oh, I've managed to attach that with a cable tie. I'll have to take the camera out. So let's see how the stabilisation is. Flick this. Yeah, we've got some of the things floating around that people have sent. There's this marvellous wooden 2CV that someone made and sent. Obviously that's Ellie the 2CV. Simon with the Metro did this lovely drawing of Tuk, and even if we don't do mailbags, we will still occasionally show off marvellous things. This drawing that someone sent or painting rather, of me in the cars back in the old unit. That's just lovely. Models people have said, so I now have a Daewoo Tico. I have my very own Little Betty Ford Fairmont AU. I have an MCW Metro bus. There are tools and things, not the vacuum, I bought the vacuum cleaner myself, but that little car vac I think someone sent to us, a little 12 volt thing, surprisingly handy for sort of light duties, but yeah, a proper vacuum is better, and I do actually need to get that out and use it on poor Foxanne. Not Foxanne, you do need an interior clean, but it's a bit beyond vacuuming. Giselle is the one who's starting to look a bit like a family car inside, so I need to take some action and sort that out. But yeah, there's a load of stuff, but then so much of the stuff, not including the beanbag, ends up sitting around on top of the Yugo, and then I feel terrible. So yeah, mailbags were knocking on the head. I'm about to run out of battery, so I shall see you next time. Bye bye.